This was a fantastic festival base episode, mainly because I wasn't expecting these two connoisseurs to pop up and be evaluating how exquisite, how luxurious, just the insanity that they can offer, especially given just how weird on paper it is that they'll pop up anywhere, even if like they don't have kids in the school. If they hear about some elegant tea or coffee, they're going to be right there. And the fact that our girl Kaguya got verbally abused, not even just by Hayasaka, but by these two as well. I mean, it was rubbing salt in the wounds. I think given a lot of, like, what Hayasaka's been through, you understand why the gloves come off at certain points. But holy shit, the verbal beatdown that she gave, not only just by herself with her trollish attitude, but when these two are, like, talking such mad shit, she just joins in being like, I'm not sure what I'd label it, it's either trash or garbage, but one of the two for sure. You just love to see just the insanity that can take place, but I love the fact that they didn't just make it so Kagi got beat down and took her punches. Instead, she says, I might be shit at making coffee, but you best believe I can make you a mad cup of tea. And then just the intensity that they went about it is just funny because I've had really high-class, expensive coffees and teas, and honestly, while there is a flavor difference, I truly just don't give a shit. You can make it generic, you can make it expensive, it really just is all in the same ballpark for me. So to see, like, when they really get into it, because there are people who, like, will swear under oath that there's this massive difference. And while for me, I don't necessarily agree with it, it's just funny to see it amplified in such a Kaguya-sama fashion, and to see the taste of love get brewed, because they recognize and hone in, like they're vultures being like, I can tell this was made for a specific person, and I wish you luck, as they're almost the unofficial cheerleaders in this episode. I think this arc in general of Kaguya-sama, it's clear it's going to be the best that the show has seen to date. You don't need manga readers to tell you that, you can just tell that not only are you getting the Kaguya will they won't they finally admit their feelings plotline, which it feels like Kaguya is very close to admitting, and hell, it even seems like our boy is also pretty close. But then you, on the other side, have you, and the fact that he, successfully, at the very least, got to spend alone time with his crush. And the fact is, he was a bumbling mess, he was a nervous wreck, and you could tell she found it kind of adorable, but the fact that they're going to this little haunted mansion house thing that they're making together, even though it still feels like there's gotta be something that's gonna knock him in the teeth that will probably make him feel bad, and most likely it'll be, it might not work out between them. Maybe he'll realize it, maybe she'll realize it, maybe they both will. It's hard to say. But the fact is, like, everyone's making their moves, and I think it makes sense for a time like this, in such a almost vulnerable time in their lives, right? Because they're very close to potentially never seeing these people again, because once you graduate, I mean, sure, you can keep in touch if you really try, but it ain't gonna be the same. So I love the fact that, they're both nervous teen wrecks, but also on the verge of becoming adults sort of a thing, and it makes this very nice middle ground of kind of tomfoolery, if you ask me. In terms of the visual flair, I think in general, Kaguya-sama has seen a slight increase with each season, and there's obviously certain episodes that steal the show with memes or visual artistic directions that they decide to go with. But this episode for me was one of my favorite styles that they chose. You had so many intense moments with characters just feeling like they were about to pull a JoJo pose with how intensely they were drawn. You have some of my more favorite moments in this episode, which actually happens towards the back end of the episode, where you have you and just her, they're drawn so just in line format, and the lines are animated as a very wiggly kind of piece of animation. There was just so many great shocked and just dumbfounded moments in this episode, as you have once again a lot of fun with the color palette, like in the case of, just one of the more intense couple conversations we've had with, Miss Mood Swings in, the best kind of couple that actually has made some moves here. And then you have like the weird colors, and then you just have the intensity with her. It's just, there was so much visual flair, and it's no surprise, Kaguya-sama always has visual flair, but I'm glad that they were really spicing it up in an episode with so many different things happening, because even though it's a festival episode, you're still going to so many different points. There's maid cafes, there's haunted houses, there's the general, the food stands, right? So the fact that the anime just continued to have fun with all the different perspectives was great, as we also just so casually reveal the kind of backstory moment of, like, the first interactions that these two lovebirds had. And it was interesting to see such a different Miyuki, and I'm so glad that they didn't like leave the anime with this moment, like season 1, episode 1, or anything like that. I'm glad that we got it here because it would have had the same impact if we immediately saw something like this versus seeing it after experiencing so much with these two and expecting certain actions and characteristics based on how the show kicked off. But to see a Miyuki who very much was down in the dumps, the loner, didn't want to be around anyone, thought everyone was preppy assholes, and the fact that the active student council president kind of brought him in, and the fact that he very much was interested in this cold ice princess, but it was the moment when the one person fell into like the lake of pollution is what I'm going to call it. And I thought it was funny, but probably in line with, people worried about jumping in because they're rich. They don't want to get their nice clothes destroyed or anything like that. And then you have Kaguya jump in with this rope and immediately save her. And even though she's saying, well, this is the daughter of a CEO of a newspaper company or whatever, we can use it. You could tell, like, she had good interest through and through. And I like the fact that he was questioning, like, what would be the thing that would let me stand next to her? Well, student council president would be able to do it. I thought it was such a perfect moment because in an episode that's being dominated by Kaguya saying, I'm going to admit, I'm going to announce my feelings, we then get the backstory of how soon after joining up in this school, just a simple week later, he pretty much immediately was in awe and started to have these feelings for Kaguya. At this point, I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if they both announced at the exact same time that they love each other, and then therefore the confession ends in a draw sort of a thing. That'd be totally in line with this show, and I think would make for some amazing embarrassment. But I'm glad that it's not just simply dominated by them. I'm glad that Yu's getting his chances as well, as you simultaneously have Chika just in the background sometimes eating cotton candy and doing her thing, because of course she is. And given the fact that this is Kaguya-sama with how many times it makes impressive ending songs or very unique things, that really, they don't need to be there for the show to be good. I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if this is the type of thing that if we do officially get that confession at episode 11 or 12, they make an entirely new ending song just for like a romantic explosion or something, because this show just is like continuing to try to prove why you want to stick with it, and it's pretty impressive to see how every area of this production works in harmony and it really doesn't feel like one area is let down by the other, right? The art, the animation, the voice actors, the character writing, like everything about it just feels like it's almost like an all-star dream team that's making this product, and you never would have thought it at first glance when just browsing the seasonal charts back in season 1. But it's insane to see how consistent the show's been, and you always know if you expect great things with this, they're always going to be met, if not surpassed, which you can't say with a lot of shows. But yeah, man, I'd leave another episode very impressed. It's sad on one hand that this season's almost done of Kaguya, but you're going to get season 4, so it's not all bad. But on the other hand, it feels like we're building up to the moment we've been waiting for now 3 seasons, and it feels like it's finally about to be here. And I'm excited to see what they pull, and it was a funny, heartwarming, and interesting episode to say the least, and it was very eerie with how they directed that haunted house thing at the very end, but I digress. Thoughts and feelings though, if you have any, whether you're a fan of that manga or if you're anime original, let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.